Hey all, welcome to Unit 2. So you've got the first unit behind you. If you haven't already, I just want to remind you to make sure that you have submitted your discussion board documents as well as finishing your introductions discussion board. Okay? Sound good? Now, I'm in the Lessons tab and we're going to start Unit 2. So I'm going to click on Gender. And here we go. For our second unit, we're not shying away from controversy nor from original and unique thoughts. This time around, we're going to focus on gender and how it functions within our society. It creates different types of social identities, and we're going to do this by reading a letter from a novelist. Her name is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which is such a beautiful name, isn't it? It's called Dear Igeawell. It's a letter that she actually addresses to her friend Igeawell. And as a little bit of background, it was originally published as a Facebook post, and her friend was kind of like, hey, you should publish this, and it turned into a thing. So the subtitle of it is Or a Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. Now, as I say right here, I understand that even reading that word, a lot of you probably have this visceral reaction where you're thinking, the F word. Just hold on a second. Generally, when students read Dear Igeawell, they come away a little bit shocked at her presentation of feminism. And I think that's important for us to understand when we're discussing the ideas of gender and feminism, is that it has cultural baggage. There's a certain association that we have with it, and that's something that we want to evaluate. Okay, so think about those. Okay. She understands the connotation of feminism that many of us had, and she seeks to really get at that cultural understanding of what it means to be a feminist. So as you're examining all the texts and resources, I want you to think specifically about how you interpret the word feminism. What types of connotations does it have for you? And I think really importantly, does Adichie's brand of feminism, does it match your understanding of the concept of feminism? If it does, why? If it doesn't, why not? And I think that tension that you'll discover there is what's going to be really interesting to write about. Okay? Now, you're also, in addition to reading Dear Igeawell and making a discussion board post, you'll be composing your first essay over Greta Gerwig's film Little Women. So you'll respond to it in your first full-length paper. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to assess the argument that Gerwig makes to the film and will respond to it with your own unique opinion. So make sure you thoroughly read the assignments and directions in the rubric before you begin. And there it is right there. And I'll run through everything, so don't stress. Okay, I need to try to get through this quickly. All right, so if you need help this week, here's how you can find me for office hours. It's still through Google Hangouts, so click there and you can go through the process of contacting me if you haven't done it already. Make sure that you add me as a contact in Google Hangouts so you can talk to me. Now, it says 12 to 2 every weekday, but I understand that often in the summers that's a little bit weird and wonky, so if you need a different time, that's okay. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to do my best to accommodate you. Okay, so here are your texts and resources. Dear Igeawell, there's the film Little Women. I also want you to watch these 3 crash course videos. That's going to give you some more context about gender and sexual identity that'll really help you out. Okay, let's look at the discussion board real quick, and then we'll move on to the essay. So you're going to click Create Thread just like last week, and here you go. So if you look at the template here, once again, please just copy and paste this template. Copy and paste it. I know it feels weird, but it's flexing those writing muscles. So in Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's letter, Dear Igeawell, she argues that blank. So after you read this, you've got to figure out what her core argument is in the letter. She makes this clear in her examples of blank and blank. So what are the 2 arguments that hit home most for you, the ones that seem the most potent and powerful? And also when she says blank, give me a quote that really stuck out to you here. When referring to blank, what was that quote about? She also argues that, quote, blank. Give me another core argument that she has that you really like. Because her experience of blank justifies her belief. And this is one of those things that we want to make sure that we're highlighting in discussions of our own identities and cultural identities, that they're a product of our experiences and our environment. So what is it from Adichie's own experiences and environment that led her to these beliefs? And don't just say like sexism, bad things, right? Like specifically, what does she address in her letter that makes you think that she came to these conclusions? And she's very explicit about it. Okay? In sum, the letter demonstrates Adichie's conviction that feminism blank. What does she think about feminism as a whole? In my own opinion of her argument, I think feminism blank. What do you think about feminism? Because, there should be a blank right there. Add a blank after because. Okay? I can primarily see this in my experiences through blank. Now, once again, be specific here. Don't say your experiences of sexism or your experiences of life, right? Can you be specific? Can you give me an anecdote or a brief little story about your experiences? You don't have to get super detailed. It's not like a therapy session or anything like that, but something that cues me in that you know what you're talking about. Okay? Adichie's version of feminism is or is not how I perceive feminism. And it makes me think that blank. All right, so this is where you're thinking about the contrast between the feminism that Adichie presents and the feminism that you have, or the feminism that's presented culturally. Okay? Now, keep in mind, you're going to make this original discussion board post. You'll put it right here. I highly recommend that you do it in a Microsoft Word document, and then you wind up pasting it here in this box. Okay? Then after you do that, this box right here will start to be populated with your peers and their original discussion board posts, and you need to respond to them as well. So make sure you do that. Your original post needs to be 200 words, and your comments need to be 100 words, and that is a minimum, so it probably should be more than that. Now, once again, quote your peers, address their ideas specifically, respond to them specifically. Okay? Be as specific as possible. Specifics stimulate, generalities bore. Don't give the hey bro comments. Hey bro, I liked your posts. Really great ideas. Great job. That's nothing, right? Make sure that you're addressing specific things they said, specific ideas that they've said, and then you respond. I agree with this idea because blank. I disagree with this idea because blank. And be as specific as possible. Okay? All right. So there's your discussion board post, and now for the other assignment that you'll have this week, you're going to watch Greta Gerwig's Little Women, and when you submit this essay, you're going to submit right here. You'll click essay number 1, and then you're going to click Browse My Computer and upload the document. Okay? Does that make sense? Now let's talk about the essay real quick. I'm going to click on Directions and Rubric, and this will give me the document. Okay. Unit 2 paper, Gender and Little Women. Directions. Number 1, watch Little Women. Makes sense, right? Think, what argument is the director, Greta Gerwig, making through the film? Specifically about gender. What is the argument she's making about gender? B, what is your response to Gerwig's argument? Do you agree? Disagree? Would you qualify her argument, meaning that you would accept some things but reject others? Why do you think this way? What in your own personal experience has led you to these positions? So that's just you thinking about the film. All right, now 3, write. After exploring all of the assigned resources for the unit, compose a thesis statement that answers the following prompt. What does Greta Gerwig's Little Women argue about the nature of gender? Okay? So first thing you want to do is just compose a thesis statement that answers that question. Now, if you're confused about thesis statements, I'm going to be sending out videos this week. They're going to help you do that. Or what you can do is you can go over here to the online learning resources. Okay, there's going to be some documents there that are going to help you out in terms of thesis statements, body paragraphs, constructing essays. You can find those things here. I'll be sending them throughout the week. But if you're really confused and need help, make sure you check out the resources there. Okay? All right. So you're going to write that thesis statement. Then you're going to compose a 1,500 to 2,000 word paper that explores the film and answers the prompt using quotes from the film. Okay? So you're going to have to jot down specific quotes, specific references to scenes, and an analysis that connects the examples to your overall argument. And that just means that you're using examples and quotes from the film to actually prove your argument, right? So if you're saying that Gerwig argues that women are secretly all pterodactyls, I don't know why I said that you're actually going to use scenes and quotes from the film to prove that argument. But that's not going to be your argument because that's ridiculous. Okay, C. Respond to the ideas and arguments of the text with your own ideas. So if your argument is that Gerwig says that gender is an unfair barrier to women that we should aspire to level or something like that, what do you think about that idea? You respond to it. I agree with Greta Gerwig's sentiment about gender being an unfair barrier to women because blank. Okay? Now, it may help to make this the conclusion to your essay, to where you're giving me your own thoughts, ideas, and opinions. Okay? This says 3 quotes from your chosen text. That should say 3 quotes from Little Women, because that's your chosen text. I've chosen it for you. Little Women. Okay, so use at least 3 quotes from Little Women, and I want you to use 3 quotes or outside sources to support your argument that you have gathered from TCC's databases. I'm going to send out a video this week. It's also in online learning resources about how to use TCC's internet databases. So don't panic if you don't know how to do that. It's just a way of making sure that you're using reliable and good information. So be on the lookout for that. I want you to use 3 resources to help bolster your argument there. Now, it may help to search for biographical information about Greta Gerwig, critical evaluations or reviews of the film, or on feminism in general. And you can weave those ideas into your essay or into your conclusion to bolster your own opinion. Okay? Now, make sure that your paper is in MLA format. Once again, there's another video about how to do this in the online learning resources, and I'll also send it out to you this week. It's not that difficult, but you've got to make sure that you do it, and you got to make sure that you have a proper works cited page. So your works cited page is going to include Little Women by Greta Gerwig and your 3 outside sources. So there should be 4 things in your works cited page, at least. Okay? All right, so if you're interested in how I'm grading, I'll let you take a gander at this rubric. I'll let you read that at your own leisure, and you'll get a better understanding of what it is that I'm looking for in terms of A papers, B papers, etc., etc. Okay, and so you'll submit your essay there, and make sure that you're paying attention to the dates. So if you're in the May course, you'll pay attention to this, but if you're in a June or July course, make sure that you know when this unit is over. Now, it seems like a lot of work, but keep in mind that we're compressing a full semester's worth of work into a very condensed amount of time. And there's no synchronous spot for you to do this. So if you've got like 1 full day or 2 full days to do all of this, go for it, and then you can take a break. So all of that's there. If you need help, please reach out and ask for help, and I will be happy to accommodate. Okay? Y'all are awesome. You can do this. You can do this. Make sure that you have your discussion board posts and 2 comments in your essay submitted before the end of the unit, which is going to be the date posted at the top of the lessons page. All right?